Well, it's been a while. I'm alive. Anyways, we have another computer to test on the channel today. Today we have the Lenovo ThinkCentre Mini, which is this thing right here, this little mini PC. And in it, as you probably already saw, we have the AMD Ryzen 5 Pro 3400GE with integrated Radeon Vega 11 graphics. With that being said, the 3400GE is a OEM only chip, so you can only get it in OEM machines. I mean, at this point, you can get them on eBay for like 30-40 bucks, but originally they were OEM only. Here are the specs for the processor, in case you're wondering. Up to 4 gigahertz boost clock, but as you can see, all core load, it really doesn't go above 3.64, but this is probably single core performance right here in terms of boost clock, I should say. Not much cache, but you know, it's a 3rd gen Ryzen and a cut down version at that. 12 nanometer AM4, you know, nothing too exciting here. See Radeon Vega 11 graphics. We go here to GPU-Z. We have all of the iGPU specs. It is basically a cut down version of the 3400G. So instead of 1400 megahertz, it's 1300 megahertz GPU clock. I think that's what the 3400G is. And instead of 65 watt TDP, as you probably saw, it's only 35 watt TDP. So it's still a good chip. Nothing amazing, but it's good, as you'll see in today's video. And paired with it, we have 16 gigs of DDR4 running at 2667 megatransfers per second. Supposedly the maximum this chip can handle is 29 something. Why it doesn't run at that speed, I don't know. This is a perfectly capable RAM kit I have in here. No options in the BIOS. I'm guessing it's probably a motherboard or a BIOS limitation. And with that being said, you know, we got 2 storage devices, the main boot drive and then a game drive. So with that being said, let's get into games, shall we? Starting things off a bit easy, we are starting off with Half-Life 2. This is the most up-to-date version. We are not using the pre-anniversary update. This is latest, you know, you'll get. And with that being said, we are running it at native 1080p using the basically very high to high settings. 4x MSAA, texture detail, we can turn it up to very high. We got the RAM and VRAM to spare it. Anti-aliasing I'm going to leave at 4x, considering we are already dropping below 60 in the main menu. Filtering mode, that's fine. VSync, fuck off. Motion blur doesn't exist in my eyes because it's terrible. Shouldn't exist, I should say. Classic effects, no idea. We're going to turn that off, leave it off, apply that. So yeah, we're going to get right into Half-Life 2 and let's see how it runs. Okay, so this is kind of the area I always love to go through when I play Half-Life 2 in a video. It's this beginning area right here. As you can see, we are getting pretty decent frames. I don't have a frame time graph up, but you can probably see it. There is a little bit of stuttering. Can you fuck off, guy? Jesus. There is a tiny bit of stuttering every once in a while, which you may or may not have noticed in the video. I should put up a frame time graph, but I can't be bothered right now. But anyways, yeah, I was going to say, as soon as you go through these doors is usually when you see a big performance hit compared to looking in this direction. And, well, that is definitely the case. Looking in this direction, we're getting just below 200. We turn around, it's less than half at, well, under 60. Which, honestly, for a game that came out before I was born, it's not that impressive for an iGPU that came out many years after I was born. Then again, to be fair, this is the latest version, so we got all of the graphical updates and, you know, all that craps. But, you know, mid-50s, low 50s, even low 40s, wow, that's... Oof. I didn't think it would be that bad, honestly. For some reason the GPU never actually hits the full 1.3 gigahertz. I think it's 1.2, but I don't think 100 megahertz is going to make a huge difference, so I'm not going to worry about it. So yeah, I mean, Half-Life 2 runs perfectly fine. It's perfectly playable, but honestly, for being older than me, I would have thought this computer would run run this game much better. Considering, like I said, it's older than me, and this computer really on paper isn't that old. There's a lot of stuttering there. I don't know if you saw that. I have noticed more stuttering in the newer version like this compared to pre-anniversary version. So it could just be something with this version of the game with stuttering, because like I said, I haven't noticed it previously. So I don't really know. It could be anything, really. So yeah, with that being said, it's perfectly playable. Let's move on to the next game, shall we? And just for shits and giggles, why don't we run it back again with another Source game? 2 Source games in a row, because why not? This is Black Mesa, a Half-Life 1 remake, basically, on a newer Source engine and one that looks a lot better. We are starting off at 1080p. I'm actually going to drop the settings from high because it's not running that good. Let's try medium. A medium quality preset. As you can see, pretty much everything's on medium. Brightness, it's fine. Is there a motion blur setting? Yeah, get out of here. So everything is set to the medium quality preset. 1080p full screen. Let's see what happens here once it applies and decides to load. There it goes. Again, okay, it's better. It is stuttering a bit. Okay, there we go. It's clearing up. Okay, so I'm guessing the stuttering is probably just kind of a Source engine thing with this hardware, because, like I said, I've not seen it on the older versions. But I have kind of seen it, now that I think about it a little bit more. I have seen stuttering on the newer Source engine games like this and the other Half-Life version. I honestly don't know where to go. I haven't played this game in a while. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It's another Source engine game. It's going to run fine. I mean, this isn't exactly weak hardware. I mean, so yeah, I mean, this isn't a great representation of Black Mesa, but it'll do. Like I said, medium settings, 1080p. It's fine. It's perfectly playable. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. 2 Source engine games. A lot of effects like that dropped in high 50s. Like, I don't think we're gonna have a performance problem here. So, ooh, I saw 47. So yeah, this game runs fine. It looks pretty damn good on medium. So, like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, so let's move on to the next game. Okay, so here we are in Beam.NG Drive. This is probably the most intensive map on the entire game. This is West Coast, USA. I say it's probably the most intensive because I don't know for certain, but it is definitely one of the biggest maps, so therefore it's probably at least one of the most intensive. So with that being said, we are going to spawn in a semi-truck because bigger vehicles means bigger performance hit. So let's go ahead and spawn in a concrete mixer. Once you do that, I will go over the settings real quick. And while we wait for this to load, I also do want to mention this wattage counter is not accurate because if I open up hardware info or hardware monitor, hardware info, it's going to say about 35 watts, probably not 11 to 13. I think what's happening is it's only reading the wattage from the processor, not the processor and iGPU. So with that being said, let's go over the settings. We're using the lowest preset, which sets everything to lowest, none. Yeah, the lowest settings turns everything off it can. So yeah. Lowest settings on Beam.NG Drive, running in a windowed view, which is basically 1080p. And if we go to hardware info, we scroll down here. Well, not quite 35, but 24.5-ish watts. It's definitely different than 10 to 12, which is reporting right now, MSI Afterburner. So let's just go ahead and take this concrete mixer for a little drive around. As you can see, the frame rate is perfectly fine. We are actually GPU limited in this scenario. Just to make my life a little bit less painful, let's make this thing a little quicker. Alright. So yeah, if you want to play Beam.NG Drive on a 3400 GE, you can do it. It wouldn't necessarily be my highest recommendation. That being because the iGPU is definitely struggling a bit. The processor is doing literally nothing at about 30% utilization, which is kind of crazy considering this is a quad core running Beam.NG Drive, and Beam.NG Drive absolutely is really CPU heavy a lot of the time, so it's honestly kind of surprising if the CPU is handling it this good. But I guarantee you, if you spawn in, say, 4 or 5 traffic, vehicles, it'll definitely probably bring it to its knees. I would try it, but the issue is, well, I don't want this video to go on for too long, but if you're just going to be playing Beam.NG Drive with, say, 2 vehicles, it's perfectly playable. Even Beam.MP, if you don't know what that is, that's a multiplayer mod for Beam.NG Drive. That should probably work fine in this computer, just as long as you don't join a really big server, like 5 and under, it'll probably handle it perfectly fine. So yeah, with that being said, let's move on to the next game, shall we? Alright, next up we have Minecraft 1.21.8, whatever the latest version is, I believe that's what it is. So what we're going to do is, before I get copyright, we're going to turn that off, because I don't know if Minecraft music is copyright or not. Anyways, as you can see, we are kind of stuttering a little bit, and we are definitely CPU bound, but then we are just loading into a world here, so we got to give it a second to load in the chunks. This is Java Edition after all, and well, Java Edition is known to stutter on the best of the best hardware, so I don't expect anything different from, well, mediocre hardware, Anyways, so now that it's been running for about 30 seconds, it has cleared up significantly. We are running at a pretty consistent about 115, 120-ish frames per second. The occasional stutter, of course. We go over the settings. We are running full screen, which is 1080p, render distance and simulation distance of 16 chunks, and a max frame. Let's turn that off, actually. And just for the reference, this is a multiplayer server I'm currently playing on, my multiplayer server. So the render distance can only go up to 16 because that's a server limitation I have set. So yeah, playing 16 chunk Minecraft, you will obviously have the occasional stutter. That's just a Minecraft thing. But yeah, no, if you want to play Minecraft on a Ryzen 5 3400GE with integrated Vega 11 graphics, not a problem. You could probably even run some shaders. Now, granted, those shaders wouldn't be astronomically good, out of this world, but it would definitely be able to handle it, considering once it's loaded in all the chunks and all that, it's a pretty consistent 100 plus FPS experience, and we are, well, I don't know if you can hear that. This thing sounds like it's about to take off next to me. I don't know if you can hear that jet mode. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, but this thing sounds like it's about to take off next to me, which I don't understand why when the temperature is barely breaking 70 most of the time. I mean, it just peaked at like 80, but it's still not terribly hot. But I guess for this thing, it considers it hot. Okay, that was weird. The capture card looked like it was dropping frames, but it looks good now. But anyways, yeah, Minecraft is perfectly playable, and like I said, you could probably even run some lower end shaders even. I mean, nothing too crazy, of course, but if you're after Minecraft, perfectly playable. Alright, so next up we have Fortnite. We're running at 720p using the Performance API. Let me just show that. 720p, performance, no frame cap, full 100% 3D resolution, far view distance, low textures, and well, that's about it. So dropping in here, we're getting around 60 to 70-ish frames a second. There's a bit of stuttering, but that's just a normal Fortnite thing. You can't really blame the hardware. I haven't really played much of this new Fortnite map, so I don't really know where to go, but I guess for now, let's just drop over here. It seems more intensive over here with all the different effects and whatnot. So yeah, and this is a very playable Fortnite experience, I will say. This is, like I said, 720p using the Performance API, so it's not going to look pretty, but it's going to run pretty decently. Actually, it's about at 100 frames. Now, it doesn't feel... The weird part is it doesn't really feel like 100 frames. 90-ish to 100 frames, but I think that's down to my capture card limiting it to 60 hertz pass-through, because this definitely does not feel like 80 to 90 frames. But like I said, that's probably, I'm pretty sure it's just a limitation of my capture card. Let me try not to get killed here. Let me try and get at least one kill. That would be really nice. There we go, one kill down. Don't mind if I do. I don't know what that is, but we're going to take that anyway. So yeah, this is a very, very playable Fortnite experience, I will say. If you want to play Fortnite on a Ryzen 5 3400 GE, you definitely can play Fortnite. So yeah, like I said before, I'm not going to spend too much time on these games because I don't want the video to be too long. But as you see, this one more kill. As you can see, this game runs perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and get this one more kill, hopefully. Come on. Yeesh. Alright. With that being said, let's get out of this and let's kind of talk about a conclusion now. Well, that brings us to the end. With that in mind, let's go over my overall thoughts and opinion on this Ryzen 5 Pro and the Lenovo Mini PC I'm currently using. The actual computer itself was about $100 used on eBay. So that right there is not a bad deal for an entire computer with a Ryzen 5, a fairly capable iGPU. Sure, it's from about 2019, 2020, but it's still a fairly capable iGPU for what it is and the age. So light games can be done. Even Fortnite can be done on this computer. Well, played, as you saw in today's video. Oh, I forgot to mention these are the latest up-to-date drivers from July 1st of 2025. But either way, laptop RAM kits, which is what this uses, laptop RAM, can be had for pretty cheap. A 3200 megahertz kit, that's more than enough for this. 16 gigs, probably run you $40-ish, brand new. Most of them come with a 256 or 512 gig SSD, like mine did, a 256, and then an external hard drive can be had for little. And the actual processor itself is a very capable processor, in my opinion, for being a quad core from 6 years ago. It's still pretty capable. So if you really had to, you could definitely game on this system. Would I go out and recommend you to buy this system to play games on? Absolutely not. But if you're in a pinch, you can definitely get away with gaming on this. You can definitely use this as a daily computer. It is very snappy when it comes to the web browser. See, if we click Google Chrome, opens right up. We go to YouTube. Oh, my keyboard's being weird. Loads up YouTube perfectly fine. I mean, like, dude, there's really no complaints with this system. It's snappy. It's quick. It's just good. It's just a really good system. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to drop a like, and most importantly, subscribe and leave a comment. Well, actually, subscribing is the most important part, followed by leaving a like and a comment. So, if you liked the video, feel free to do that, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.